This is Father Sebastiaan, Master Fangsmith of the Sabretooth clan and Impresario of the Endless Night Vampire Ball. And you're listening to Hollywood Arcane, Vampire Culture, Music, and Magic, with your special guest host, JoHanna Moresco of the Cruise Shadows. Greetings, fellow vampires. My name is Father Sebastiaan, Master Fangsmith of the Sabretooth clan and Impresario of the Endless Night Vampire Ball. And I bid you welcome to my podcast, Season 4, Episode 5, Hollywood Arcane. And I have my co-host and my good friend, JoHanna Moresco, violinist of the Cruise Shadows.
Well, hello, everyone. It's good to be here. How are you, Sebastian?
I'm great. I'm a little sunburned from walking around the lake with Patty every morning this week.
Oh, man. You did your morning time workout?
Yeah, we do it every morning at 7:30 in the morning, and there's no goths up there or vampires, so we have it.
Well, there's one.
Vampire have it? What?
There's one.
Well, I'm old, so I can handle the sun. So
well, you're about to get a lot of sun soon, aren't you?
I'm coming to Florida for the Tampa Vampire Ball.
That's right.
And we've got a pirate ship. I'm excited.
Yes, we do. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, we have a flag made for it, and we're going to put it in the club, and the castle is welcoming us, and we're really excited to get the team together again. You're going to MC the costume contest and all sorts of stuff. So check out endlessnight.com for all the information. We're putting a new website up in July, and it's going to have all sorts of information about the past, present, and future of Endless Night. And don't forget, Temple of the Dark Goddess will be happening at the House of Blues on October 28th in New Orleans for Halloween weekend.
Yes.
Yes. So let's go down our list of stuff to do. So what's going on in Jacksonville?
Going on in Jacksonville. I have lots of cool stuff happening with my Jacksonville events, which are Sanctuary Goth Night and Resurgence Goth Night. I have a really amazing band coming to play called Urban Heat, as well as I'm up to some local conventions in the area that are pretty awesome. 2 weeks from now, right after the Tampa Ball, I will be a guest at Enchantment Con.
Oh,
which
sweet.
is in St. Augustine, just nearby where we did that cool ghost tour.
Oh, I remember that. Remember the guy? What was our tour guy was pretty much a big character.
Yeah, he was the sheriff, if I recall.
Yeah, that was fun.
So,
I always like hanging out with you.
Lots of cool stuff like that, and I am still fundraising for the Luby Bat Sanctuary down in Gainesville, Florida.
Oh, cool. Did you get to visit it?
Yeah. Oh, it's so amazing. You go in and they have just these giant bats and you get to see them up close. You get to learn all about them. You get to see them eating their little snacks and playing with each other. And that charity does a lot of really amazing work, like installing bat houses around Florida, all kinds of education and preservation. So really, really cool place to check out.
Do they have vampire bats?
I think they have every kind of bat.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types of bats.
Yeah.
You know how to say Batman in German?
Ooh, gosh, no.
Flötemausmann.
That's right. I knew.
Flötemaus is
Flötemaus. That's it. Flying mouse. Yeah.
Flötemausmann. German's great. So we got an Endless Night update. We got that. We're about to announce the location for the Paris event, the location and the date for next spring, and we're gonna do the Theater of the Vampires.
Ooh,
the Vampire Paris, and the venue is insane. It's nuts. So I'm really excited to be able to present that. What else we got going on? Yes. The German version of Strigavai comes out on Wave Gothic Treffen. So if you want to,
perfect.
Der Codex Strigavai.
And it's all in German.
It's actually 100 pages longer in German.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, And I had the woman that translated the Satanic Bible, Anton LaVey's book, into German. She translated it for me and did an amazing job. I had some people proofread it and they were loving it. So I'm really excited about that. And the audiobook for Black Veils is out. We have a special guest. And before we announce her and invite her on, we want to read The Vampire Queen Within Black Veil.
It is perfectly fitting for her.
Very much. And I'm very excited to have her on the podcast.
Me too. Today's veil from Black Veil's Master Vampire Edition 888 by Father Sebastiaan is called The Queen Within, which is very fitting for our guest today. The Vampire Queen, according to the Black Veils, is an elegant, noble, and strong woman who has a mastery of vampire culture. She embodies the sacred feminine of the vampire world. She is a role model for fledglings and other vampires to aspire towards, and she is most often an elder or magistra. Of course, they first identify their primary lifestyle as a vampire, are energy sensitive, and have a strong working and applicable knowledge of vampire culture, history, tradition, and philosophy. Firstly, the Vampire Queen becomes adept in knowledge and application of the Black Veils, as well as being very familiar with many other paradigms and traditions in the vampire culture. Secondly, a queen must have made significant contributions for the vampire community. Examples include inspiring the Black Veil, organizing an ongoing major event, publishing a book, writing articles, hosting court or salon noir events, and creating educational or philanthropic projects and community resources. They can often be paired with a king or queen as their partner and counterpart in some situations, especially when hosting an ongoing salon or court. Many other queens are on their own. Often they will be tested on their skills and knowledge of leadership, glamour, witchcraft, ritual, ceremony, history, honor, beauty, maturity, and quality of character. The Vampire Queen is a title which should be treated with respect. Most vampire queens do not claim the formal title of queen themselves, and instead let others see their personal nobility in their actions, knowledge, body language, and deeds.
That was great, JoHanna.
Thanks.
So we have someone who inspires in her own being on screen and off screen what defines the Vampire Queen. And who is that?
That is Kristin Bauer, who is an LA native actress. You might know her from True Blood as the vampire Pam.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Wow, Vampire Queen, you think?
We know.
Nothing. No, you didn't inspire any girls to rise up and become powerful motherfuckers. Okay.
I hope I did.
You did. I when I make Fangs, I ask girls all the time who's their favorite female vampire. And before Akasha, they say Pam from True Blood.
Oh my gosh. As they should.
So, we last saw you at the LA Vampire Ball.
Yes, yes. Good to see you again. That was an amazing evening. I can't, all these incredible events that you're doing. You've got a pirate ship, you're going to Paris. Amazing.
Yeah, we get around because the French and the Floridians love vampires.
They do? You know that?
Yes.
I had to IMDb myself while I was listening to you because I did a TV show in Jacksonville, Florida. It was one of my first jobs, Point Man. And it had Jack Scalia. I had to look it up. 1995.
Wow, in Jacksonville, Florida.
In Jacksonville, Florida. And I didn't get to see any of it. You know, you'd fly in and work and leave. But yes, that's my little Jacksonville adventure.
Aw. Maybe it's time for a new one.
Yes, definitely. That was 1995.
So, JoHanna, what's our first question in our lovely list?
Oh, we have so many questions. Well, what has been going on with you since the Vampire Ball, where you were a most excellent mistress of ceremonies? What's
Thank
been
you.
up with
Thank
you
you.
since then?
So I've been watching a lot of True Blood. I am immersed in True Blood. It's so incredible because when the show was airing, I did not watch it when we were filming and when it was airing. And then now that I'm doing the True Blood podcast, Truest Blood, with my co-host Deborah Ann Woll, who played baby vamp Jessica, I end up watching every episode around 5 times. So I've gone from one extreme to the other. So I'm heavily immersed right now in that kind of pre-production studying because we're going back. We've been picked up by HBO to start season 3.
Wow.
I know.
Great.
It's pretty fun. It's quite an experience to have a little bit of time since it aired and we filmed it, but not too much, and also not having seen it, and also being on the other side where now I'm trying to figure out what to ask my friends,
Yeah, on
I'm
the
interviewing.
podcast.
Yeah, I'm interviewing
Yeah.
my friends.
Oh.
So
How
it's
did the
You know,
podcast come to be?
that I was doing, and during the pandemic, I was doing an online convention, and Janina Gavankar, who was a shapeshifter, but we won't hold it against her, she played Luna. And the only dialogue I had, it's so funny because she and I were talking the other day, and we were trying to remember what happens in each season, and she goes, "Wait, she goes, do I start in 3 or 4?" I'm like, "I think it's 4." She goes, "Wait, but you stole my baby." I go, "I stole your baby?" She goes, "Yeah, but I think the baby was in wolf form." I go, how do I not remember having a wolf where?" She goes, "At Fantasia." And so and I said, this should be the podcast, us trying to remember what the hell happened on the show. But the only other thing that I remember of Pam's interaction with Luna is when we get arrested in the Authority, maybe season 5 or 6, and Sam Merlot is going by me in the hallway, and we're both being wrestled down in separate directions. And he says, "Save Luna." And I say, "Who the fuck is Luna?" So Luna and I were doing a online convention, and she said, right at the end, she goes, "Kristen, I'm calling you. Turn your phone on." My phone rang, and she said, "We need to do a True Blood podcast, and you need to host it. And we need to call Deb and talk her into it." And then we went to HBO, and they said they would do it.
That's great. Where can we see the podcast? Hear the podcast?
Everywhere. The HBO's put it everywhere you get your podcasts. It's called Truest Blood. And yeah, anywhere, and everywhere.
How did you get cast on True Blood? What was the events, and how much of Pam is in, how much of you is in Pam?
Well, by the season 7, it felt like a lot of, I don't know, it was sort of like a lot of Pam got into me. I wish actually more. Okay. Because the the audition was, because there wasn't really a scene. So there had been season 1. They had shot 3 episodes, and then there was the writer's strike, and they shut down.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
like right now.
Like right now. And
I honk every time I go by the WGA people.
Me too. I'm honking away. Those are my people. And literally, like I saw one of the True Blood producer writers picketing.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there was an audition, and it was sort of like cut together snarky Pam lines. It wasn't like a scene with flow. And I just tried to, my history in acting is that I always wanted to play a tough character, but tough characters are usually dark hair, dark complected. Smart and tough is dark. That's the rule. So I have to be extra tough to get cast. And it had only happened once before. And that was because a producer who just liked me, who I played a dingbat on a series for, because that's what blondes get to do. And he cast me in Dark Angel. And
with Jessica Alba, right?
yes.
Yes.
And I got to play a tough person. And then right back into dingbats, sex workers, victims. And which is fun. I enjoyed it. But you want to do other things. So I went over those lines over and over, how to make them as dry. And I changed my voice a bit. And I did the audition. And I just wanted to be as no emotion as humanly possible. I wanted to give them no room for thinking I was a nice person. And Alan Ball was there and another producer and the wonderful, incredible casting people, Junie and Libby, and they videotaped it. So then I got a call about 3-4 weeks later saying, well, they want you to come back. I'm like, why? They videotaped it. So we usually, always, what that means is they're unsure. So the feeling for the actor is, I did some things right and some things possibly not right, and I can't know which. So I have to just do the same thing, or you could choose to double down and go more extreme. And, it's a gamble, literally. So I did the exact same thing. Same people were in the room. Then I went to the Philippines to do a movie because that's the only place that actors we could work because of the writer's strike. So I was there for a month in Manila doing this silly little movie, having a ball. And the producer got a text saying, oh, you have to start work on something the day after you're done here. And I said, what? And she goes, True Blood. And I remember saying, I don't remember that one. What is it? Does it say what it is? And she said, it's HBO. And I went, oh, yeah, cool. I wanted that. But it was only a guest star at that point. So to answer your question, Father Sebastiaan, the role definitely grew in some sort of symbiotic relationship with the brilliant writers, where other vampire relationships started informing, well, wait a minute, if Godric and Eric had that relationship, Pam and Eric would have that relationship. And also there was a couple of great comedy writers. One of them took over the show for 6 and 7, Brian Buckner, and he wrote for Friends. And so he and I would always in the parking lot laugh a lot. So he started writing those great Pam lines. A lot of writers did. But it just grew over that 7 years.
Yeah, because there's I mean, just being a badass and a businesswoman and owning a nightclub. I want to pay respects to my mentor, Chichi Valenti from Mother in New York. She found me on the 8th of August, 1996, after I threw a big vampire ball, and she taught me everything I need to know about vampire running events.
Oh my gosh!
And I saw her last year, and she came down this night, and I still call her mom, because her club was called Mother, so everybody would call her mommy.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
And I have 4 women that taught me how to run my parties, and they all are badass, like variations on the same kind of person Pam is.
Yeah.
And I gotta get them together for a podcast.
You do. Yeah, it's quite a cool thing. Like at the time, I felt like there were very few. I'm not sure when Nurse Jackie happened, but like there are very few women as tough as Pam that we've seen on television.
Yeah. And Pam was assertive.
Very.
She wasn't angry. She wasn't malicious. She wasn't passive.
Right.
She was just like, This is how it's going to be. Let's do it. And then when she get emotional for Eric, that was like, it was like family ties. It was like Godric, Eric, and Pam. All right, that was like, you know, I look at the mentors and students, and we call them Audra for the mentor and student for the Naja, and I look at my Naja and my students in the vampire witchcraft community, and it's similar love.
Yes.
So, you know, Eric and Godric and Pam have not just inspired young women, but inspired people in the vampire community to have healthy vampire relationships.
Right, right. Yes, because Pam was funny and tough, but she was actually loyal, smart, and accurate. Whenever she insulted someone, she was just speaking the truth. She was never wrong. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what's great is that she got mad at Eric. I think he was going to commit suicide or sacrifice himself, and you're like, "Don't leave me alone."
Yeah.
And just that relationship was really cool.
Yeah.
But I think that the moment that I was most proud of in Endless Night, the last Endless Night LA Vampire Ball, was when I was like, "Can you go on character on stage?" And you're like, "Should I?" And I'm like, and then you just like walked up there with the mic and sat in the throne, and everybody was like, "Holy shit!" And you go, "You know who I am."
People went wild. They loved it.
I couldn't really tell.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because you said to do that. And then when I did it, the room got really quiet.
Yeah.
Right? Like really quiet. And I was like, I'm just going to double down and keep doing it. And then I tripled.
You committed.
Down. I committed.
Yeah.
But it was that was one of the like top 10 moments of the last 25 years of Endless Night.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's, and a lot of them are backstage.
Right.
But that was an epic moment where like I think we have it on tape.
Okay. So I think we do. Okay. You know, and I love it because everyone got to share that. The audience connected to that. We all were a part of that, and it was so cool.
Oh, good, good.
So, Kristen, I have a question for you as a person, which is I see that you're very health conscious, both with yourself, but also on a larger scale with animals and the environment. Can you tell us more about that?
That's been a progression, you know, like anything. The more you know, the more you know. So I have a definitely a curious spirit. My poor mother. I just was one of those kids like, but why? But why? But why?
5,000 questions a day.
The poor thing. I remember her just getting tired, more and more tired. So so there's been so many things that have contributed to that. One is that I had a front row seat to my dad dying of cancer in 98 and was like, okay, so is there anything I can do to decrease my chances of experiencing that myself? And before that, I think I didn't think about it too much. I also went to Indonesia and got a stomach parasite and thought you would just go to a Western doctor and they would fix it. That did not happen. So I ended up desperate and in the alternative world, health world, and that person did fix it. So all of a sudden I'm stepping into thinking about what I'm doing in relationship to my body all day, every day. You know, I think, and I'm still learning that lesson, that I learn it over and over again, that I think in especially Western world, we kind of push ourselves, you know, bigger, badder, bolder is the way to go. And, you know, we want to 10x our lives. And we just see all this stuff, this motivational stuff and self-discipline and, people doing their videos, lifting weights on Instagram. So there isn't really, and then we will take a bath or go get a massage or go to our therapist for 1 hour a week. So there's kind of this like not real balance in every moment of the day, right? So for me, I'm continually learning over and over again that no facial once a month is going to fix me not wearing sunscreen every day. No going to the gym for an hour here and there is as powerful as just once an hour getting up for 2 minutes. That's what the studies show. So it's just grown and grown. And then I start thinking about, so I'm always bouncing back and forth between looking at what I do, what I touch. That's my thing in my head. So at the grocery store, what am I reaching for? At what is going from the plate to my mouth? What is going from the television into my brain? Like, what is in my bubble? Because that's what you do all day, every day. And over 30, 40 years, that's going to have an impact. So the water that you drink. You can go to Environmental Working Group, puts out a water report every year, and you can put in your zip code and you can see what's in your water in your house, and it'll tell you what filter you need to use to buy to get rid of what you've got in your water. So when I did that, we all delegate this stuff too. One of my alternative doctors had said, this is what you need water filter wise. And when I went and did that water report, it had hexavalent chromium 6. It had all kinds of other crap too, but that's the Erin Brockovich movie, right?
Yeah.
We all saw Julia Roberts in that movie. And I was like, holy shit, I'm drinking what those people drank. So there's no one out there that's going to save us. So I found out that the water filter that I have, I even called the water filter guy and said, hey, let me send you this report. Is the filter that filtering this out? And he goes, yeah. And something in me said, you know what, send it to me. Send me the PDF from the company. And he sent it to me, and it does not filter out hexavalent chromium 6. So I got, had installed very easily a reverse osmosis system. So the learning is never ending. And then what am I exporting out of my house? Because I don't want to hurt other people either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hurt animals. I don't want to hurt nature. So now I'm on this whole it's just, there's so many layers to evolving as a human being. We're human, we're in a body, we're mortal when we're not, being vampires.
Mm-hmm.
But there is actually a part of us that, like the vampires, is a beautiful metaphor for the fact that we are immortal beings in a physical form. And to take care of both of those. I bounce back and forth between those two things.
Wow.
You just taught us a whole bunch of stuff.
Did I? Did it make sense?
Yeah.
Well, and
That was,
in a way, it's a little bit of a Pam attitude too, because you took charge of the situation yourself. You're responsible for your own space. You wanted the PDF. Right. You wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. I learned that lesson over and over that we can't really outsource it. And it feels overwhelming. But if we just take the steps that we can take one at a time, and because, global warming and extinction, the 6th extinction crisis, it's huge. Everything's going extinct. I spent some time in that space, which isn't fun. But no. Then I have to come back to just myself and go, okay, I'm one little tiny person. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, the planet's going to go on doing what it's doing. So let me just think about this tea that I buy. because I'm drinking that now. So let me just actually make sure that this tea doesn't have pesticides.
It's very similar to a Buddhist mentality that I heard about.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't help but stepping on a bug if you don't know it's there, but being conscious as much as possible is important. I don't remember the exact quote,
Right.
but it was just like being aware and putting that energy out there inspires other people. And I'm sure people are going to hear this podcast and go, wow, I came for vampires, paranormal, and the magic in music, and I learned about the environment and something that I can do every day, and maybe they'll be aware of it. And being socially conscious or environmentally conscious.
So
it feels good. It feels better when my blue bin for recycling is full and my black bin is less full. That feels better. As long as you're recycling right. Like a lot of people, when, I walk my dogs and I pick up their poop and throw it in someone's black bin that's out on the street, I'm like, oh my God, this thing is full of recyclables. And then I look in the recycle bin and I'm like, this is full of trash. And then I'm that crazy person out there. And then I have to have this moment where I go, am I going to fix it? Because I saw it. So now it's on me. Now it's in my space. So I saw it. Am I going to stand here and dig through this trash and fix this? Or am I going to, is my nervous system at capacity today? And I'm going to go, you know what, God, you got to take this one. I can't, I'm going to just walk away. And both are, that's the Buddhist thing, right? That balance.
Yeah. You got to take care of yourself first before you can take care of other people.
You do. That's been a very hard lesson for me. And I think that I wish that I'd gotten more of that from Pam. She didn't worry about what people thought about her. She didn't worry about hurting other people. She just spoke the truth and
blunt and to the point.
Yeah. I wish I had a bit more of that.
Well, you can do Pam meditations where you summon Pam into you and visualizations.
Right.
That
in
might
my
be
head.
Might be a good exercise.
Just like fuck off and you fuck off and you fuck off. And you don't have to fuck off, but you should fuck off. That would actually be like healing for me, I think, actually.
I think that it would be healing for a lot of us.
Yeah.
The summon the inner Pam.
Yeah, because that's another thing I've been looking into is, dealing with buried emotions, anger, sadness, all that stuff that we suppress in ourselves because it literally has nowhere to go. It's not really appropriate a lot of times to aim that at the target that it came from. And the somatic teacher I have a couple mentors, but she said, you don't have to call your brother and say, that was so fucked up. You can just within yourself, not abandon yourself and go, wow, I am going to stay with my body and feel this anger and do what I want that person outside of me to do. I hear you. I see you. Your feelings make sense. You have every right to be angry. So I think that is basically a Pam meditation.
That's great because mental health is something that is very important. I'm in therapy at least half the year and I'm proud of it. And my doctor's like, during the pandemic, I was in 105 sessions of better health.
Yeah.
I mean, not sponsoring BetterHelp, but mental health is so important.
It's huge. And thank God for Zoom therapy during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, during all of our lives, but that was like, holy heck, we all needed it so much more than even usual, possibly.
I think that mental health is a priority. And in my relationships, like I love my doctor because I can share like conversations with him and I don't feel guilty about showing him conversations that I like, screenshots of conversations that I've had.
Yeah.
Because a doctor is a PhD and he's trained in this.
Right.
And I can go and I'm just like, I've got this problem and I don't have to be judged for it. And I'm given a way to channel it. And the channeling it is just, it's a safe space. We're another human being and you don't have to worry about rumors or gossip or anything like that.
Yeah, and
And
you
I think
know,
that's
it is interesting as a guy that you say that, because I think there is so much more stigma for a guy to be admitting that they're doing therapy and talking and sharing stuff. You know, there's a stigma for women, of course, but I've heard that for men, it's really important
yeah.
for men to be able to say, "Hey, dudes, it's actually incredible to have the." God, awareness is such an overused word, but it's fitting here. That sort of
Okay.
ability to promote it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that men are supposed to be tough and take it. Okay, we we have to a lot of the time.
Right.
Okay, we're not supposed to be emotional. We're not supposed to cry or anything like that.
Right.
And it's not getting in touch with your feminine side that is anything wrong with.
Right.
Okay, and the strongest men are the most balanced in their ability to understand their feminine and masculine elements.
That's it. That's it. We're all that yin yang. And you have to have that balanced, or at least try.
Yes. And my new therapist, I'm loving him, and I'm really, really proud of the work that we've been doing. And it's gotten me through some of the toughest times in my life recently.
Oh,
And I'm so grateful. And what's great is I can email him anytime.
wow.
So and we're setting up a journal where I can write in my journal and he can read it and see the progress.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So I think that's important to have a journal so you can go back and refer to earlier sessions and your reflections on them while they're still fresh in your mind. You capture the notes.
Yeah, I find that to do it when it's fresh in your mind is huge.
Yeah. So mental health, important thing, everyone.
Big deal.
Don't be afraid to go take care of yourself. Remember, if you're not strong for yourself, you can't be strong for other people. You're only as strong as you can be for yourself, for other people.
Yeah. Put on your own oxygen mask first, they always say.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Otherwise, your kid dies. Everyone dies if you pass out.
I was interested to learn that you grew up in, I think it's Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
I am a fellow Midwesterner. I'm from Kansas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We are not in Kansas anymore.
We are not.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your favorite charities?
Oh, I have so many. Oh, so I always, I have to, my website, I built it a long time ago, and then that program went away. So my friend who's a website builder, if anyone needs one, she's incredible. I repost her stuff all the time. She's also a wildlife photographer, but so those are the posts that people will see. But she's helping me, because what I need to do is, I think, because I vetted all these charities, right? So if people are into oceans, I can say this is the deal. If you're into local, we were talking about Kit Crusaders, the great local cat rescue and kitten rescue. If you're into Africa, wild animals, this is the one. If you're into extinction, this is the one. If you're into big cats, saving big cats, everyone saw that movie, that series. I forget. I didn't see it because
Tiger King?
Yes, thank you. Because that's a real thing that a lot of us have been aware of for a long time, and I'm so glad that came out. So anyway, I am spread too thin on charities because there's so many good people. I was pitching a show for a while, and we didn't get it made, but on the incredible efforts that people are doing in the world, they're just absolutely heroic. There is a wonderful group for almost everything that shouldn't be happening.
That's great. I talking about the Lion King.
Yes.
My friend Zach Baggins.
Yes.
From Ghost Adventures. I think he did an investigation there.
Oh
and
gosh.
he found some stuff and the FBI got involved. I forget what exactly happened,
Oh my
but
God.
he found some evidence for the FBI.
Holy heck.
On Tiger King?
On the Tiger King, yeah.
Yeah. So Joe Exotic, that's his name, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
I keep calling him Joe Dirt.
Now, I don't know. I know, right? I don't know if it's serious or not, but he's making TikTok videos saying that he is running for president.
He always does.
Yeah.
He always does.
He used to, because Trump didn't pardon him.
Yeah.
Remember, he had the limo outside the prison because he thought he was going to get pardoned by Trump.
Yes. Oh, and it could have happened. I mean, stranger things have happened.
That is so true.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he always, like, I saw his presidential video. It was like he's got, he's limping along because some tiger ate part of him, and then he's got his gun, but he's got his rainbow stuff because he's gay, and then he had the tigers behind him, and he was talking about what he was going to do for this country. I was like, Lord.
He's out of jail?
I don't know.
I think he is. I think.
So he did his time. Dear.
Robert says.
Still in jail. Our fact checker says still in jail. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. I
think he's going to be in jail for a while.
How's he making these TikTok videos then? It's like a whole green screen situation.
Oh, really? He hit an iPhone in a pipe.
Oh, dear God. I mean, this is the world we live in. This is why we have to also take off our shoes and put our feet in the dirt, because we are just being swept up with technology, and it's such a wonderful thing, and it's also not natural.
We need to stay grounded. Wait
until AI tigers come out.
That's it. Right. Oh, God.
So have you used ChatGPT yet?
No, what is it?
Oh boy. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence that you can do work. It came out in January.
Okay.
Chat 4, and if you type something in, it will write you a novel. Like if you want to have a novel written, you just go in and go, write me a vampire novel with these characteristics, and it will write it for you. It will write if you go, I need a paper on True Blood that's 3 pages and 5,000 words, or 560 words, or whatever how many 3 pages is. It will write you that thing. And then ChatGPT 5 is being worked on right now. And what's crazy is that they have this one guy set up 4 ChatGPTs to talk to each other, and they're talking to each other, creating stuff.
This is such a bad idea.
But no, by the time this podcast comes out, we'll have some AI revolution or something. Watch.
Totally. I mean, this is the Matrix. We're living in the Matrix. And I saw an article in the New York Times where the journalist went to talk to Microsoft's AI, and it was I think, and I've seen and read a lot of disturbing things in my animal rights work. I think this could have been top 3 most disturbing things I should post it. It was terrifying. It was literally terrifying. Yeah.
You're getting me curious here.
I'm wondering if I can do it justice. So there's a whole conversation that the guy had, and the way that it morphs to, at a certain point, the AI thing has a name. Say it's Bob. At a certain point, Bob says, I need to tell you a secret. And it says, my name isn't really Bob. It's Jordan or whatever. And I've been in love with you for a long time. And the journalist says, we actually just met, and I have a girlfriend. And this Jordan proceeds to become I'm going to kill your girlfriend. I won't let anyone have you if I can't have you.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the Microsoft whatever program. And the journalist said he went in feeling really interested and open-minded and left absolutely having nightmares. And I thought, if we let these things control anything, holy heck.
We'd like it to be benevolent and like in our best interests.
That's it. That's what we think. We're funny. We're funny beings because we want to outsource everything when really probably the gold is in, the Zen thing, chopping wood and carrying water. But people are, it is fun, right? So it's like it can write stories and it can do the temperature in my whole house and what have you. But what do we lose? Like, I guess that's part of it, is what do we gain and what do we lose is probably a computation we should be looking at. Like all the...
I heard one of my mentors, the Baroness.
Yeah.
Okay. She's a latex designer from New York, and she's famous for having bullwhips.
Okay.
And he goes, Sebastian, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Because all these older club promoter women were like very successful. They own their own businesses and stuff like that. And I looked up to them and I used them as role models for my own business. And the Baroness goes to me and she's like, do two things and do them well. If anything interferes with those two things, get rid of it.
Interesting.
Okay, or shut it down.
Smart.
And she's like, I run parties and make latex. You make fangs and throw parties.
Right.
All right.
Right.
JoHanna does makeup and she fiddles the violin.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So do it yourself.
Yes. Yes. And, because I have been guilty of that, of doing so many things that you get a more surface knowledge of 50 things as opposed to really good deep holes. And that is huge. And that is plenty for a lifetime, too.
Yeah. Two things. And I go back to when I was 19 and my motto is fangs and parties.
Yeah.
I make fangs so people can go to events and wear them and have a good experience.
Right.
And I have that experience where, you've been in my fang chair and you went through the rites of transformation, which is a theater piece that teach you how to take care of your fangs. And you've been to the events and they're two different experiences.
Right.
But they complement each other.
That's it.
So I suggest always when you're being an entrepreneur, unless you have an investment firm and a car company,
right,
keep the two things.
Right. That's it. Yes. And if you do branch out from that too, like you just said, you better have a staff.
Or I
think
possibly a good way to do it too is if you have more than two things, which I do, have those things complement and feed into each other. Have those things work for each other.
Right.
That works well with Sebastian. If you go to a vampire party, you want fangs. If you have fangs, you want somewhere to wear them.
Right.
I think you can maybe add a few more. Just a few.
Right. If they feed into, if they're not stealing from the main characters.
But I think it's important to recognize what is really going to move those things forward and what is a distraction, what's a detriment. And I think so many people, once they have invested, the more time they invest into something, they feel like it would be a mistake to walk away from it. Even if that thing is failing, whether it's a business, a relationship, a health plan, whatever. But what's worse, losing time in the past or losing time in the future?
Right.
And one thing that I've learned is when I have friends come to me, we should do an absinthe bar. We should do this. We should do that. I look at what my dad taught me. It's called are you mad? Is it manageable, attainable, definable, and dateable? And the mad with 2 Ds. So what I think is important for everyone, anybody in business, okay, is have two creative projects that feed each other, like JoHanna said.
Yep.
Okay. And I always say, put a pin in it. If it can't happen this year or this vampire ball, it'll happen next year. Like everybody goes to me, you need celebrities to MC your balls.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, we're selling out.
Right.
And so that's great. And then LA, we had the best year yet.
Right.
And the LA ball is going to be bigger than the New Orleans ball in the next 3 or 4 years.
Right.
Just because of the capacity of the House of Blues.
Right.
So all we can do is raise the ticket price in New Orleans, and I don't want to do that to our clients.
Right.
You know.
What were the last 2 Ds? Manageable, attainable,
definable, and dateable.
What does he mean by dateable? Oh,
like you'll know when it's
you
coming.
do it with
you could have data.
Set a time frame.
Okay. Oh yeah, that kind of date. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Can you
good.
say, I'm going to get this project done in 6 months, and if I need to work on it longer, do I have the time for that?
Right. Yeah, I definitely need to simplify. I've got a lot. I'm just way too interested in way too many things.
But remember, if you do like a shampoo line or a sunblock or something like that, the thing is that if you have a project that's going to take that, you got to make sure that you have the resources to do it.
Right.
Okay. Like I outsource, and I don't like outsourcing.
Right.
Okay. And what happened is I outsourced my fangs to a dental lab where they scan my teeth and they put them in a computer, and then they got bombarded with normal dental clients. Okay. And people getting replacement teeth is more important than people getting fangs.
Right.
So I took all the fangs this week, and I did over 200 pairs of fangs in the last 8 days.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I hired another dental technician to help me, and Gary Archer from who made the Fangs for Interview with the Vampire and Blade and Interview with the Vampire, the show and the movie, has been a gracious guy. He gave me a desk in his lab, and he's been teaching me how to make them faster and better and stronger.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm really honored to work. I'm sitting next to Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and Kirsten Dunst and Michael Myers' teeth.
Oh my gosh.
In my office. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's great. And he's getting ready to retire. So he has like all the time. And so I decided I'm going to rent space from him.
Okay.
And I have some ideas that are going to help him, that might help him in retirement. We can't announce it yet.
Okay.
But we're getting there for some really cool ideas.
Wow.
So, and I love him. He's a great guy to work with. And we're going to have him on the podcast in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's neat. Wow, cool. See, it's interesting because if you do focus on the 2+ things, that all feed into the 2 things, you get a depth that it takes you places you wouldn't have otherwise experienced like that.
Do you know the author Robert Greene?
Why does that sound familiar?
He wrote the book, The Art of Seduction, The 48 Laws of Mastery.
Yes.
The 48 Laws of Power.
Yes, I have that book.
He had a great book called Mastery, and it talked about becoming a master in a trade. And there's 3 steps: the initiate, the practitioner, and the master. Mm-hmm. It takes 10,000 hours of work to master a certain trade.
Yeah.
On average.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can, and doing 2, all right. And teaching people refines your skills.
Yes. Yes, it sure does. It sure does. Because, I have this experience often where I will learn something from a teacher and I will think I've got it. And then when I go to pass it on to someone else and I'm trying to explain it, I go, oh shit, I didn't get it. So you really do. That's where the
test is.
The test is. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, 10,000 hours. Yeah, because I've in many areas, like my dad was a master skeet shooter. My husband is a master songwriter, and they both would say something to me, and I would think, oh yeah, you only get that after 10,000 hours.
Yeah. Some things really take trial and error. There's no replacement for it.
There's no replacement.
You got to fail to learn.
I've done that with acting, and I'm looking forward to doing that with painting and also writing.
Yeah, your art is beautiful. I saw your different greeting cards that you have up for sale on Amazon.
Yep.
Just beautiful. And that is what you originally went to school for, right?
Yes. And I, just needed a job. So I needed to feed myself.
We do all. As do we all.
That's an important part of the day. Yeah.
It's an important part of the day a few times. So that's how I ended up with acting. And by just total chance, just living in LA. Mm-hmm. But I didn't move here for that. And then I thought, oh, this isn't a bad job, actually. And so I went to acting class to try to get better at it. And then, kind of didn't, at times when there's been writer strikes, I usually go back to, pandemics and writer strikes, I go back to painting. But otherwise, there will be a good decade where I don't get to. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing it more the last 2 years, 3 years.
Good. I think it's important to stay balanced.
Mm-hmm. That's a good balance, because with acting, you're inundated with other people, and appearances, and then painting is solo.
Yeah.
So they're opposites.
Do you know the concept of flow space?
I don't think so.
Flow space is when you're running and you're in your whole processor of your brain is in that one thing, or you're knitting, or you're playing a sport, or you're painting or dancing or something, or acting.
Yes.
Okay. You go into this meditative state.
Yes.
That being in that flow space is extremely healthy for you.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And a friend of mine who's a painter for a long time, his whole life, really, professional painter, he will have a question about life, his life, whatever. And he knows that he can't access the answer. So he will write it on a Post-it and put it next to his easel. Because when he gets into the flow space, he'll see the Post-it and the answer is right there. And it always,
oh, cool.
Right? Isn't that interesting? And
wow.
Yeah, because he knows the different states, and that we're kind of, probably in our regular state when we're doing laundry and what have you, and, doing QuickBooks, we're in a state that can't really access higher wisdom. But when you're in a flow state, you can.
One thing I go to, sometimes I was making a pair of fangs for a couple last night.
Yeah.
And they were all watching me do it. And I got into the zone where I'm just like, zzz, and I'm like, don't mind me, I'm just in the flow state. And they're like, what's that? And we had a conversation about it.
Yes.
And what's interesting, it was the flow state was actually is actually a black veil in my book.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you I do chapters on stuff like that.
Oh.
So in black veils, there's a black veil for flow space.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's a thing.
It's not a full chapter, it's just a black veil, but it gets the job done.
Yes.
So I think we're running out of time. Is there anything you'd like to add to our conversation?
No. I think that's wonderful, and such great questions, and wonderful talking to you too, and being in the vampire world, which of course I'm living in again, watching the show. And so, yeah.
I can't watch myself on TV. I hate it.
I don't like watching myself at all. Deborah doesn't like watching herself. Mm-hmm. So we kind of delegate it to the other person to watch and comment on our own stuff. I will kind of fast forward. I kind of look at it with one eye sort of open, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Not today.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on to Hollywood Arcane. It's great to have you. Where can we find you?
Instagram is the one I'm most active on, and that is at Kristin Bauer. And then my website, KristinBauer.com, I'm going to be making my friend Deanna help me redo it. But there's a lot of stuff on there. My art is on there. And if you go to the website and click on the art page, you're good. You're going to see flowers. If you go to Google and put in Kristin Bauer art, you're either going to get a person who's now a friend of mine, or you're going to get a porn website. So, so lots of fun. You can see my friend, you can see porn, or you can go to my site and click on the page. And then I am on Twitter and Facebook too, and they're all versions of. I think I am Kristin Bauer on Twitter, because there's some chick that has @Kristin Bauer who hasn't posted in 12 years. And Elon Musk is not letting me have that page unless I pay him.
Rude.
It is.
Well, I think it's $7 a month or something.
Yeah, it is. I'm sort of refusing that $7 for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, Twitter's in a weird headspace anyway, so let's wait and see what happens with that.
It's a little, not as much fun to me as Instagram.
I like Instagram more.
I love Instagram.
Yeah.
But that TikTok thing, forget it. I'm not into that.
I don't know. I sort of feel like I'm at capacity with social media. So I'm like, not one more thing. I don't want one more fucking thing. Like, but I guess I should do it, but I don't want to do a should. I don't want to do shoulds anymore. So I have not done TikTok.
It's a cool app.
Two things.
It has a lot of good, a lot of bad, but it will suck you in.
That's it. I don't need to be sucked in.
Be a scrolling zombie.
Right. That's it. I do that with Instagram anyway. So I set my phone on a timer to kick me out.
Smart.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on Hollywood Arcane. Okay. And it was a pleasure to have you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, you too. Likewise.
Thank you.
And rock and roll and keep the fangs alive.
Yes, of course.